End, Part 3. Picking up where we left off, we're going to go from R, letter R, through to the end today. And we're going to start with Ready Player One. This was a gift. Spielberg film. Not my favorite. You know, I read the book when it first came out. Loved the book. Ernest Cline, I think, wrote it. I read that book so fast. I read it in like 3 days. I was just addicted to it. And I couldn't, when I heard Spielberg was going to direct the film, I thought, oh, well, if there's anybody that's going to be able to secure all the rights to everything that they're going to need to do this book justice, it's going to be Spielberg. I was very excited. And I think the end result is good. For how you would turn that book into a 2-hour film, I think they did a great job. It is not as good as the book, though. Not even close. That book is phenomenal. But having said that, I thought it's good. It is lacking a certain something. I don't know what it is. Especially given Spielberg's behind the camera, he can usually bring that kind of wonder and awe and grandeur to films, and I don't think he quite gets it with this one. That being said, this was free, so I don't feel bad about owning it. Tarantino, his first film, Reservoir Dogs. Gosh, what a great film, huh? Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, this is great. Wish I had more to say about that. It's funny, the movies that I love the most, I feel like, what is there to say? These are great films, go watch them. Underrated, maybe not. The Return of the Living Dead. This is collector's edition. So this was a very early zombie comedy film. You know, everybody kind of goes to maybe Shaun of the Dead as the go-to, but before Shaun of the Dead, people, it was Return of the Living Dead, which is funny because when I was a kid, when I would go to the video store and rent VHSs, my store didn't have this, so whenever I would run across this at like another store, or you know, when you would go rent movies at other places, it was always a treat. But they always had Return of the Living Dead Part 2. So in my heart, my nostalgia is probably more towards the second one, but I think the first one's better. It's great. It's very 80s, very kooky, but I love it. Love it. The Shining, Stanley Kubrick. Again, I said I own them all, and I do. There's only like 11 films or something. But The Shining, one of the greatest horror films ever made. Another Stephen King adaptation, but this is not successful in the sense that it was mirroring the book that much. Kubrick took a lot of liberties, but I love the liberties he took. I am not Stephen King. He does not really approve of this version. I do. I think it's great. Jack Nicholson, you know, Shelley Duvall, even the little kid. What's the little kid's name? Scatman Crothers. Danny Lloyd is the little kid. Great. But what's great about this Blu-ray is it has the visions of, no, what is it? Well, two things. There's like a making of documentary that Kubrick's daughter shot. A lot of great behind-the-scenes stuff, especially seeing Jack Nicholson just in his element, like preparing for a scene. You get to see him preparing for that axe scene. I love, like, that is gold right there. Seeing Nicholson, one of the greatest actors, preparing for one of the most iconic scenes in film history. That's gold. This also has a phenomenal, if you're an audio commentary buff, great audio commentary by the guy that I believe invented the Steadicam. You know, this is famous for his Steadicam shots with Danny going across the floor on his tricycle thing and going across carpet, hardwood floor. That scene, very iconic. But yeah, the commentary, great on this film. Can't say enough good things. Another fantastic film, Best Picture, 1991, right? Yeah, Silence of the Lambs. Won the Big Five. Not many films have done that. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay, I believe, which would have been adapted screenplay. Yeah, right, because it's based on a book. Anyway, phenomenal. Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster. What can you say that hasn't been said about them? Jonathan Demme, man, underrated director. I don't know if he's underrated. I perhaps used that phrase a little too liberally, but he doesn't get as much credit as some of the other big filmmakers out there. Your Spielbergs and your Zemeckis and your Tarantinos and stuff like that. Jonathan Demme, man, I love the way he frames stuff in this, how he has actors looking kind of down the barrel of the camera. Very uncommon, very unorthodox filmmaking. He has Hannibal looking right down the barrel of the lens at you, so he's looking at you. That tension that he puts in you is really good. Perhaps, that's not a word, perhaps one of the best musicals of all time, film musicals, is Singin' in the Rain. Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, Debbie Reynolds. Whoa. This is, talk about a film, or a musical that was a film first and not like a stage musical. This is so good. About the transition of silent films into talkie films. I love this movie so much. Is it in my top 10? Maybe. It's up there. It's up there. Yeah, for sure. So good. Skyfall. Daniel Craig. One of the best movies. Adele. Who doesn't love the theme? Skyfall. Skyfall. I don't know the words. Yeah, great film. Love James Bond. I need to get more James Bond films. I used to have them all on DVD. Now I only have a couple Blu-rays, but yeah, I mean to get those again, because all my favorites, like favorite James Bond, I think I love From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, and Thunderball. That is like a little trilogy unto itself. That is fantastic. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Billy Wilder. I talked about Billy Wilder being my favorite director. I used to have a ton of his stuff on DVD, and that's one of the directors. I wish I wouldn't have sold them all, because I haven't got them back as quickly as I got rid of them. And but I'm glad I have this, even though there's a Criterion edition of this that I want to get now. But I'm gonna hang on to this until I get that. Some Like It Hot, one of the best comedies of all time. Jack Lemmon is one of the best actors. He's one of my favorites. I really need to pick up The Apartment. That's another great film of Billy Wilder's and Jack Lemmon. But Marilyn Monroe, classic. Tony Curtis. Speaking of Tony Curtis, we've got a Tony Curtis twofer here. Spartacus and Stanley Kubrick. This is my least favorite Stanley Kubrick. It is the most un-Stanley Kubrick film of all of his stuff. And it's long and boring. And I love Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis and what's his nuts? Charles Laughton. He's good. Laurence Olivier. Gosh, I forgot he was in this. But it's just... the original director got fired. Kirk Douglas had worked with Kubrick on Paths of Glory. Brought in Kubrick to kind of save the day. They clashed on set. Kirk Douglas and Kubrick. And they did not get along after the making of this film. And I don't know. It just is not my favorite film. But I gotta own it because I love Kubrick. Here's one that I don't know if I should even show you because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get rid of it. Star Wars, The Force Awakens. I bought this when it came out. This was probably the last Blu-ray I bought when it came out new. I was very excited about the prospect of a new Star Wars trilogy. I thought J.J. Abrams did a great job with this. I will admit it's kind of a ripoff of A New Hope, but I thought that was necessary to kind of reintroduce everyone to this. But then, boy, did the whole trilogy go off the rails, and it did not end in a satisfying manner for me. Sorry, it just didn't. And so yeah, I look at this and I'm like, I see so much hope and potential flushed down the drain when I look at this film. So I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. One film that is fire trucks. It is fire season. I'm in California. One film I absolutely love, and I need to get more of this filmmaker, is Paul Verhoeven. Starship Troopers, man. Paul Verhoeven did Total Recall, RoboCop. I used to own them both. I don't own either of them now, but I still own Starship Troopers. Satire. Satire about fascists. You know, if you're rooting for the good guys in this movie, you're kind of rooting for Nazis. That's the joke. So if you didn't know that, you rooted for Nazis. But fantastic film. and it's a great look, satirical look at, as I said, fascism and propaganda and how people buy into all that stuff, which I think is very timely for today. So maybe if you haven't watched this in a while, pop it in, give it a look-see. Ooh, here's a good one. Best Picture 1973. Do you know? Do you know? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's The Sting. Paul Newman, Robert Redford, and the great Robert Shaw, the phenomenal Robert Shaw. Best Picture 1973. This is good ragtime. I actually have the score on vinyl because I love it. That ragtime 1930s, music. But fantastic. This has some special features I have yet to check out, but great film. It was sandwiched in between The Godfather, so you got these two serious crime dramas in the 70s, and in between is this fun, lighthearted, kind of heisty type film that's just really fun. Great. Here we go. Here's a Billy Wilder film that cooks. Sunset Boulevard. Oh, so good. And it's got one of my favorite actors in it, William Holden. Man, that guy. He is a man's man. I really got to pick up Stalag 17. That's another good Billy Wilder, William Holden collaboration. But this one, obviously famous. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Who's that? Gloria Swanson, that's right. Fantastic film. Great, yeah. Actually, I got to watch this one again. I haven't seen this in a long time. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I don't know if this is the best edition of this film. Probably not. I had the first Terminator film, and it was a terrible edition of the Blu-ray, so I got rid of it. However, I like Terminator 1 more than I like Terminator 2. I love Terminator 2, don't get me wrong. Great film. But I'm more of a... Dude, they made Terminator 1 for like $8 million. And that movie is so perfect. There is not one wasted second in that movie. Can't say the same about this, but this film is still amazing, amazing. Oh, man. Yeah, Robert Patrick, classic. The Terminator, Edward Furlong. Just great, just great. Yeah, James Cameron, man. Why is he making those Avatar movies? Why? He could be making stuff like this again. Oh, here's a good one you might not have heard of. It's called Terry, with, I don't know if you can see, John C. Reilly, Jacob Wysocki, Creed Bratton from The Office is in it. You know who else is in this little film? Me! I'm in this film. Am I on? I'm not on the... No, I'm not on the thing. I'm not a big part in it, but it was a lot of fun. I was in this film. My character is named Sex Ed. And fun fact about this little film is before Roger Ebert passed away, rest in peace, Roger, he would always do like a top 20 films of the year after every year. And in 2012, this was, I believe it was 2012, this was on his, or maybe it was 2011, I forget, one of those years. This was on his top 20 list. It was like number 11 or 12. So I was, Roger Ebert, I respect that man. He's one of my favorite film critics, historians, whatever you want to call him. And the fact that I was in a movie that made one of his lists tickled me like nothing else. So very proud of this. It's a fun film, independent film, fantastic performances all around. The director, Azazel Jacobs, what a great guy. This was just a super fun experience for me. And yeah, very proud to have been in that film. One of my favorite films of all time, Tombstone. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer. This is just one of the best Westerns. It might even be a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but I think it's fantastic. Very troubled production. Replaced the director. Kurt Russell kind of like secretly directed this film, and it's so good. It's a little bit long, a little bit of a mess, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. Powers Booth. Oh man, the character. This is just a cavalcade of supreme character actors out there. Powers Booth and Michael Biehn and what's his name? Stephen Lang, Jason Priestley, Michael Rooker, Billy Zane, Bill Paxton, Sam Elliott, the list goes on and on. It's just so many great actors in this film. Love it. Toy Story 3. I once had dreams of owning all the Toy Stories on Blu-ray, and this is the only one I ever picked up, which nothing wrong with it. It's so great. I still think my favorite Toy Story is the first one, just because I remember seeing that in the theater when I was a kid, and I was there for the first Pixar movie. I was very proud of that. And I remember seeing this in the theater, and I just totally, it was a 3D showing. Remember when 3D was all the rage? I had to go to a 3D showing of it, and I'm so glad it was a 3D film, because I was crying like a baby at the end. But it was masked behind my 3D glasses, it was just like filling up with tears. But I was so glad we ended up going to a 3D film, because I was like, nobody can see me crying. But I think everybody was crying in this movie. It's a sad movie, man. I mean, it's sad and it's bittersweet, but it's wonderful. Man, Pixar, they knock it out of the park every time. My favorite Humphrey Bogart film, Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Also my favorite, John Huston. Is that how you say it? John Huston, right? Yeah, it's my favorite film of his. Humphrey Bogart is so phenomenal in this. Plays a kind of a bad guy. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's about greed. It's about going crazy. Yeah, greed. Yeah, it's wonderful. If you've never seen it, check it out. If you were ever like, which Humphrey Bogart movie should I watch? Bam! Treasure of the Sierra Madre. So good. True Romance, the best Quentin Tarantino movie that's not a Quentin Tarantino movie. Quentin Tarantino wrote it, but Tony Scott directed it, and it's great. I mean, it's very Tarantino with that Tony Scott kind of flavor. Really good. Christian Slater. This is another one that's just got like a host of great character actors. James Gandolfini, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper. The list just goes on and on. Michael Rappaport, I love him. Really fun film. Really fun. One of Jim Carrey's best films, Truman Show. Not his best film in the 90s, though, but one of his best films, Truman Show. I mean, talk about predicting the rise of reality television. This film right here. Peter Weir, director. Underrated director as well. I love Peter Weir. But yeah, this film, this was when Jim Carrey decided, I'm going to try and make kind of serious films. And what a great start, to that. And then he followed it up with Man in the Moon, or Man on the Moon, the Andy Kaufman film. Also really good. Best Picture, 1992, Unforgiven, another great Western. Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris. Very good film. Very good. Dealing with what it means to kill someone. It's kind of the theme of this film. You watch all these Westerns, bad guys versus good guys, there's a toll that takes on you, and this film explores that. Really good. Another great Pixar film, Up. Is this the best Pixar film? I don't know. What is my favorite? I don't know. I really like Toy Story, but again, I kind of wearing rose-colored glasses when I think about Pixar films. But man, this one, that first 10 minutes, right? I mean, everybody talks about the first 10 minutes. Well, how about those middle 10? Like the 50-minute mark to the 60-minute mark? I don't know. They're probably pretty good because it's a pretty good film. But yeah, great film. Great film. I like these thick Pixar Disney cases. They're like slightly thicker. I think because they got more discs inside. Yeah, like they got the two things. But I like these cases. They're like, they got heft to them. I like heft. Couple more here. 3 more. One of my favorite comedies of all time, Wayne's World. This might be a top 10 film for me. I think this is pure comedy. I think this is my favorite film. Groundhog Day is up there, but that's more of a romantic comedy. But we're talking just pure comedy. Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, man, Wayne's World. This movie just never gets old to me. And it's one of those films that every time I watch it, I catch something new that I never caught before. And I love that. That's the best kind of rewatchable films, is those films that doesn't matter how many times you watch it, you can always find something new in it. And Wayne's World is like that for me. Hey, when's the Crucial Taunt album finally coming out? Am I right? Like, that Cassandra, she really wails. Robert Zemeckis. I almost said Roger Rabbit, because it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Directed by Robert Zemeckis. Say that 5 times fast. Great film. this film was made at the right time because it was before computer animated films took over, but it was kind of like when traditional animation was reaching its heights of what they could do with it, and the combining with the live action, really great. Fantastic film, you know, can't go wrong with this. Bob Hoskins, Roger Rabbit, Eddie Valiant, Jessica Rabbit, so many great things about it. Love this film. And, I mean, it's got Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse in the same film. That's crazy. That is nuts. Especially now. Disney's like the big behemoth that it is now. They weren't doing so hot in the 80s. The Renaissance hadn't started yet. They weren't doing so hot. So the fact that we got Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in the same film, that is a big deal. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. And finally, the last one, The Wild Bunch, Sam Peckinpah. Man, Sam Peckinpah is such a good director. He just went for it, man. Wasn't scared. And another William Holden film. I love William Holden. This is kind of like later William Holden, Ernest Borgnine. Great film, great Western. Little long for me, but good. Yeah, I like this, and I gotta dip into. I like these commentaries that have like film historians when they don't have like any actors that are still alive or directors to do commentary for the film. Sometimes they'll get film historians. I almost like that more because I don't know. I just sometimes I like that more. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, that's my like regular Blu-ray collection. The next the next video I'm going to do is going to be like all the special editions. So you're going to get your Criterion editions, your digital books, the collections. Lot of great stuff in that one. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for sticking along this far for this one. Let me know what you think. Movies, right? Blu-rays. That's what everyone's talking about. Okay.